Hello there, hope you're doing well. In this short video, I'm gonna teach you the Cinema 4D software, a 3D software. So I will try to cover each and everything you can easily operate on that software on the basic level. So without wasting any time, let's get started. This is the Cinema 4D R26 I'm currently using here. Whenever we add something to the screen, it will show up on that axis, something like that. So let's get started with the navigation. Here you can see the three options on the right corner. This is the options for the navigation. This is the move camera. Okay, you have to click on that while rotating. Okay, it will move right and left. These are zoom in and zoom out, and this is for rotation, for a 3D rotation of an object. And this is the toggle view. Toggle view is basically we have four angles of the object, from the top view and from the front view and from the right view. For now, we just want to use that one. So basically we added these default 3D cube. Clicking onto that, when you press and click onto that, you will see a different type of objects here. It depends on the model that requires a shape similar to the organic objects. Something like these are the spheres, and this is something like the cylinder. Okay, so now every object has its own property and its own functions. First, you can see here, this is the objects menu. Whenever we add something to the plane, to the field, it will appear into that field. Here you can see we added the cylinder. Just click onto that and it will be selected, and we are good to move and rotate the objects. And for moving and rotation, these are the left options. These are for moving and rotation. For example, if you want to rotate that object, this is the short key, and or just by pressing R here. Okay, this is the rotation, and now we can rotate our object. For example, if we want to scale our object, this is the scaling tool. Whenever we add something to the field, you just have to click on that for selection. If you're not finding that object in the field, this is the object field, and these are the attributes. Attributes are the properties of the object you have selected. For example, the sphere we selected, it has a radius of 100 centimeter, a default 100 centimeter radius. We can decrease or increase it by just changing the value. And we have, and for smoothness, here you can see the object is not very smooth. For smoothing, we have to add the segments. For aligning objects, like sometime we want to see the lines of the object, polygonal view. For that, we have to go to the display, go to shadings. Just change it from this to lines. When you select on the lines, here you can see we have a polygonal view of the every object. We have to see the segments in every object. Here, like you see, if we change the segments, it will change like that. For a smoothness, we have to increase the segments. It depends on the model we are creating. So these are the main two objects. For the type of the sphere and its line shading, we have a different option here. Like a type, it's a standard type. We have to move to the hemisphere. It will just cut our sphere in the half, like a dome or something like that. These are the tetra. Have you noticed the line shading have been changed to the tetrahedron? And these are the hexa. These are the octa and is icosa. Here you can see for different options. For further, if we want to select any object, any vertices or any point of the object, these are the options. This is the point mode, this is the edge mode, this is the polygonal mode, and this is the model mode. What is different in these four? Like here we have an organic object and I want to move and select the point of that. I can't do that right now because the object is not editable. For the further options of any object, we have to right click on the object and make it editable. Once the object is editable, we have a different type of options here when we right click on the object. Here you can see that, and when we move our when we change that to the polygonal view, and if we want, for example, extrude that point, we have to right click on here, and here you can see the bunch of options. You can explore it one by one. This is like the extrude option. Just click here, and from the left click, press the left click and drag. It will extrude like that. And for the second, for example, if you want to bevel it, just click on the bevel, click and drag. It will bevel. If you want more radius and more roundness to the shape, you have to add subdivision from the attributes. Here, like that, if you can see that. So, first we have to editable the object by just clicking here. This is the option, or just by clicking C. And whenever the object editable, the icon here will change. Here you can see that. It means now our object is editable, and in now point mode, we can select any point of the sphere. Here you can see that, and now we can play with every point we need. Okay, and something like that we want edge mode. For edge mode, we will select the edges. Something like this is the selection tool, a live selection tool. For example, I need these lines and want to play with that, or something like that. Here you can see that this is our line mode, and I want the face mode, the polygonal mode, and for that I have to click on that one, and now I can access the face mode of the sphere, like how many I want, and we can move it, we can rotate it, we can scale it. It's all depends on what we are modeling and what we need. So that was the sphere, and these are the four main objects. And after making the object editable, you want the whole object just by clicking that, the model object, the model button. When you click on that, the whole object will be selected, and you can move it to everywhere just like that. And after that, go to the attributes menu. These are our coordinates. These for placement. These are for placement of the objects. Whenever we want to place something like that, and when we move something like that, here you can see we are moving the object into the y values. The y values changes, the x value, the x changes, and the z value, it also changes. So this is for the placement. P, here you can see the P for placement, or for rotation. Whenever I want to rotate something, I can rotate it from here, or just simply by here. But rotating from these is more specific to the to the axis and to the values. For example, I just want to move a 90 degree, and just I want to move to the 180 degree, and just I want to move to the 75 degree. It's all, these are the very specific points for specific point rotation. And this is for the scaling. When we want to scale our object in x-axis, it will scale like that, and for y values it will move it something like that. Here you can see these are the y values, and for the z-axis here. Okay, and we can't scale it like that until our object is not editable. For example, if this is our object, the cylinder, this is not an editable object, and we can move it something like that by the arrows. Here you can see this is for the radius, this is for the length. Before editing the object, we have some options in the basic of every object. This is the basic, in which we have a radius, a height segment, something like that. You can see the height segment and the rotation segment for the smoothness. And these are the another object, which is cape. These are the caps. If I uncheck that, we have no cap. It's just like a pipe now. And we have, when I press on the fillet, it will give us a smooth curves on the edges. It depends on how much we are making it. And this is the slice mode. Slices mode is basically it cut the object into the in the center, depends on how much we need according to the degree. The same coordinates for the cube. We have an object which the size of the x-axis, y-axis, and these are the segments in every angle, and the fillets. Further we move, let's explore the upper ones. These are the rectangle. Here you can see that this is not the object, this is the spline. Like that, this is our 3D model, but this is our spline model. And we have the same, every object have the same attributes in the coordinates menu. And here we have the width, height, and the rounding if we want. Here you can see we can round the object. We can convert that object into the 3D model. I'll show you how. And by pressing this, we have a lot of different spline. For example, the flower and the star. And now in here we will notice in every object menu there have a specific object menus. For example, in the star menu we have a twist, is something like that. We can twist the star, or we can reduce the points of the star, something like that. And we have the inner radius of the star, and we have the outer radius of the star. For example, if we want to make our spline into a 3D object, for that we just have to go to the here, click on that, and here you can see the extrude option. Just click on that, okay, and the objects you want to extrude, press and drag into the extrude menu. Here you can see our object is now in 3D model, and we can adjust the offset by just these value in the extrude menu, not in the star menu, but in the extrude menu. So these are our subdivision surfaces. By modeling a cloth or something, this is for extrude. This is a subdivision surface. Subdivision surface is basically used for smoothing the object. For example, I want to smooth the cube object. I just drag into the subdivision surface, and you will see I have smooth geometry of the object. A very simple example for that, we have a cube here, the another cube with the 4 vertices with the 4 edges only, and I just drag into the subdivision, it will turn into the round. Here you can see, because we do not have much segments to maintain the shape. If I increase the shape, you will see we have a smooth, nice uniform of geometry. Here you can see, and here. It all depends on the segments on the X and Y and Z axis when you are using subdivision surfaces. So these are our subdivision surfaces, and this is our text line. This is our text line. Whenever we want to type something like cinema 4D, press enter, it will turn into the text line. This is the objects of that, and from here we can change the fonts as well. This is the height, this is the spacing, this is the vertical spacing. Same for that. If we want that thing into a 3D object, we will go here and select the extrude and drag into that extrude, and here we will see our object is converted into the Cinema 4D as a 3D model. This is the volume builder. Well, let me show you. For that, it is basically used for combining two objects. Here you can see, for example, I want to combine these two objects. I will add the volume builder. First we have to go to the volume builder, move to the sphere, and then into the cube. Here you can see that it is pixelated just because of the voxel size. If we reduce the voxel size, it will get cleaner. Here you can see we have a smooth between these two as they are attached to each other. For that, then we will go to the volume measure and drag volume builder into the volume measure. And for here, and if we remove that to the ground shading, you can see here we have a smooth attachment of the two objects. And for the next thing, we are going to the mographs, and these are the effectors. These are the effectors, and we are using the most commonly is the cloner for clone any object. For example, if I have any cube, remove the size into the 20. I decrease its size and drag it into the cloner. You will see I have successfully cloned my cube, and in the cube and in the cloner object we have a bunch of different options. It is a mode by which it is grid by default. We can move it to the linear, something like that. This is our linear, or something like when you are modeling an apartment or something like that, it's used for that. And for the radial, we have the circular cloners, and we can increase the count and the radius. And the fourth option is grid, which is also we can use, and the honeycomb. Honeycomb is basically something like that. We can change it directions, something like here, and we can reduce the counts and the height and the offsets. And whenever we want to clone our object onto some object, we will just use the object menu, and then the object, we will select the object, we will drag the object into that field on which we want the object to be cloned. Here you can see that and we can increase the counts, and it will something like that. So these are the bend deformers These are called deformers. Click on that and you will see a bunch of kind of deformers. For example, I want to bend something, a very quick tutorial for that. For bending anything or for using any deformer on every object, we have to make sure we have a much segments. Let's move into the 20 by 20 and to the 20. Let's move to the deformer, and now in the deformer object we will drag the deformer into the object. Into the green version, we were dragging our object into that option, but in the purple ones we will drag that option into our object. Here you can see the bend deformer is on, something like that, and it will bend only by that option. You can see something like that. These are our bending, and if we want the deformer can cover all of our object, just click on that, fit to the parents, and these are our alignments on which we want our object should be bent. For example, I want on the Z plus, fit to parent, strength. Here you can see that these are bending onto the Z, and I want to the x-axis, fit to the parent, and here you can see it has a different of varieties of that. Here you can see all the objects, and this is a simple option for that. Just by clicking on any object you want, just drag and drop into the object and you will see the bulk object. And here you can see now I can bulk the object from the bottom. It seems like something like a pillar. And this is our plane, a field menu, which is used in the animation, in which we will cover in our next and advanced classes. So let's jump into the textures. We will now move toward the material properties. For example, we want to add material onto that object. For materials, we just have to click onto that pretty sign here, material manager. Click onto that, and here you will see material. Just double click here and you will find a material, or by just create materials, new standard material, and you will find it here, a new material. Double click onto that, and here we have a different type of options. For example, if we want to add a color, just drag and which color you want. And for applying object, we just have to select our object and just try clicking here and move to the apply. And here you can see we applied the object successfully. If we want two materials on one object, for that, first we will make our object editable, and then we will, for example, this is our second material, and I want to make my second material on that face. For that, we will go to the face and the polygonal menu and select our face. Our face will be selected. Just move to the another material you want to apply and go to and just click apply, and here you will see two materials on one object. For example, if you have any picture and you want that on your scene or textures, you just have to go to this one, project, and go to any object. If you have, for example, I have this one, make it no. Here you can see I applied the object on my cube. For a basic level of UV, if your object is squeezed by its or it looks smaller by its original shape, just click on to the material tag here, just go to here, and the length U, if we increase that, here you can see, for example, 130, it looks now very good. And we have to rearrange that by moving the offset U. In offset U, we can move our material right and left, and offset V up and down. So this was our material applying and material creation, and in that we have a different type of options. If you want to bump, just click on that and you can add your bump here. And the normal map, we are using the Cinema 4D default materials here. And in that one, if you want something kind of reflection, these are our reflection properties. Just go to the here, reflection legacy. This is our roughness, this is our reflection strength. Here you can see these are our reflection strength. Make it 25 and make it 20. We have a nice and cool reflection on our objects. And after that, we just want to add our camera onto our scene by just clicking here, the camera. And now we are not in our camera mode. If you can see, to go into the camera mode, just click into that for target. Just click into that. Now we are in our camera mode. Now if we can rotate our object, now we are in our camera mode. This is the camera setup. And for add something, a lighting, we have a different type of lights here. Just click on that and we have a different type of lighting: light, spotlight, target light, physical sky, sunlight, infinite light. For example, this is our light materials. Here you can see this is our light. Or we can just add a physical sky. Here you can see we have a physical sky. And this is our light. For that, if we want a shadow in our renders, this is in the light menu, we have a type omni, and the shadows that is set onto none. Just move it to the soft shadow maps, retraced area. It's depend on the object. So that was the basics of the Cinema 4D. For a very basic level of timeline animation, if we want to move our animation or place a keyframes, for that we will just select our object that we want to animate, and this is our timeline. Here you can see this is the timeline, and for that, this is the record active objects. It means this is the keyframe. This is our starting object, and this is our timeline. On to the frame 0, I want to record my position by just clicking that, and here you can see we have a white dot, and onto the 30 keyframe, I want to move my object here, and onto the 30 we have to click on that again to record our keyframe position. Here you will see that line, that means the animation and the keyframing has been done. Just by clicking here, it will move to its starting position, and if we play, it will move something like that. And we want to rotate it, and just by here, like I said, we can animate it by here, and just something like that. Onto the 30, I want to rotate something like on that minus 180, and it's to the 90 degrees. Here you can see this dots turn into the yellow. It means the keyframe is not yet confirmed. You have to click on that yellow keyframes to make it to the red. Now our keyframe is set. You can see here now this is now rotating and moving. So this was the Cinema 4D, a very basic tutorial for any new Cinema 4D user, that how we can work on that Cinema 4D software initially, how we can move on that, how we can create materials, how we can add keyframes, and how we can add the objects. So I hope you like that tutorial, and for any questions if you have, you can comment below. I will definitely answer to that. And for further, if you want any videos, please let me know in the comment box. I hope you like the video. Subscribe the channel, hit the like button, and take care.